Hey guys. It's been a long time. Let's see. Let's wait for you guys to show up and we will get
Switch to
started.
Chrome to protect yourself from malware. Less worrying.
We will get started here shortly. Boom, 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 boom. Hope you guys are good. Say hello if you're here. I'm just getting back into the swing of things here, so it's definitely been a little bit of a delay getting back into the live stream. I've been gone for a while doing catastrophe work, so it's been great. I've enjoyed being away, but it's good to be back again. Good to be back again. So make sure you say hello if you are in, and we will say hello back. Just posting this link here, so if anybody wants to join us, they can. All right. All right, so introduce yourself. All right, here we go. Takesha, welcome back. I remember you. How's it going? What's been new since the last time? It's been forever since I talked to you guys. So fill me in on what's been going on and, you know, in the world of adjusting for you guys. Love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear what's going on in your lives, because my life's been kind of crazy and I'm just trying to get back into normal land. So, I don't know if I need these or not. I don't know if I gotta read anything. Oh, you went on your first deployment. Tell me about it. Did you go to Florida? Did you go to Georgia? I mean, that was all what was going on lately here with Hurricane Helene and Milton. Pardon me, I'm just doing something real quick. I'm not ignoring you guys, just trying to let everybody know what's going on in the world. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, tell me what was going on, Takesha. I'd love to hear what was going on. What deployment you ended up going on. That would be good to hear. I tell you, this thing is not easy. I am not technically savvy, guys, when it comes to last minute South Carolina and north of Augusta area. Oh, very good. So you were down there with probably Helene, I guess, at the beginning, right? Is that what you went with, or was it Milton? Leftovers from Milton. It was crazy. I was actually in South Carolina for a little bit, and then it was just so hard to get to the places, so things were really messed up. All right, bear with me 1 minute. I got one thing I'm trying to do here. All right, there we go. Sorry, guys. All right, got 7 people in here. Everybody, tell me what you're doing. Yeah, I never climbed a roof before, but got to, that's wild. Yeah, that's kind of funky. I guess you're gonna learn quick. But hey, got 7 followers in here. Somebody's watching. Introduce yourself. Takesha's already said hello, but who else is in here? Tell me who is here. so I can say hello. Whether you're new, old, the first time here, I don't care. I want to see who's here, so let me know. Just a little bit note, I've been gone for a couple months. I was first deployed to Hurricane Helene in South Carolina. I was in Columbia, and oh, new adjuster, Kimberly, very cool. A realtor, very nice. Welcome. Nothing wrong with new adjusters. I love new adjusters. That's where we all started. Got to start somewhere. So I think, did you send me a note, Kimberly, about you introduced yourself, telling me that you were thinking about swapping over from realty over into adjusting. I think I remember that. If I'm mistaken, tell me if I'm wrong. But AD never calling. Hey there, just finished my 6-week deployment with Florida. Very cool. All right, so we got a lot of people that got their chance to get out and do some hurricane stuff. That was the same thing with me. So I was a couple weeks in South Carolina, and then it was just so hard to get up into the mountains. We were in North Carolina mountains, south side, and it was just the roads and the bridges and everything. It was so difficult that I was actually kind of glad when Milton hit, because then I was able to jump up there or jump down there to Florida, and I went to Orlando. So I was in Orlando. I didn't want to go to Tampa. I don't like being ground zero because I knew I'd be fighting with a lot of miscellaneous claims between being flooded versus wind, and there's always a battle between those two. Makes it really hard to adjust because they're trying to, one's trying to blame the other. So I was down there inland a little bit because I knew they had 80-mile-an-hour winds in Orlando, so I was there, and it was incredible damage, surprisingly hidden damage, meaning most of your 30-year shingles, the laminate shingles, architectural shingles, they actually were lifted, pulled through the nails, and then set back exactly in the same spot. So the only way you would ever find those damaged or wind damaged shingles is really to tug on every single shingle in the seams. Do that all over all the slopes, in hopes to try and get a real accurate number for how many wind damaged shingles there were. Man, it was tough. It was backbreaking work because it would take me about 40 minutes per inspection to go over every shingle, because I'm trying to, get enough scattered damage so I could buy the roof or justify the roof. Not that that was my main purpose, but obviously making sure I did a good inspection for these people. So, I'm going through tons of chalk, going like 2 or 3 sticks of jumbo chalk through every roof, marking all these wind damaged shingles, but then could justify buying the roof pretty much for almost every roof that I was on in Florida. So it was pretty cool. So Takesha, you asked, what do you do now? Well, hopefully you made enough money during the catastrophe, which you always do typically after you get to be more and more efficient. You'll do really well, stockpile a little bit of that money, and then you can try to do some daily claims or potentially hope for some other deployments. Lots of winter storms going on right now. Flooding. I mean, obviously, if you're a new adjuster, you're gonna have a hard time getting flooding stuff. But yeah, daily claims. The benefit to being deployed on a catastrophe is now that you can put that on your resume. I would suggest updating your resume, going back to all the firms that you applied to, resubmitting your resume with your new information, the new catastrophe experience. And then what it'll do is it'll kind of flag the portals or flag that email out to that person that you're submitting your new resume to, and it'll allow them to now look at your resume again. Whereas the first time you sent your resume with no experience, they're saying, oh, they just put it to the bottom of the pile and say, okay, we got 150 of those a day that come in for no experience. Well, now you got experience. So good news. Absolute good news, because this is how it started for me. I only did 1 catastrophe and I started getting more work. And that's because they considered now that I was worthy of hiring because somebody was willing to give me a shot at a catastrophe, and they don't care how well you do. Honestly, they don't. They just see the name, they see the amount of claims you handled, and that you were deployed. And it's an awesome thing to put on your resume. So you can now be in confidence when you start talking to other firms and saying, hey, I was deployed on this catastrophe, and everybody knows how big it was. So it's a big plus on your resume. And it'll start to work this way. It starts to snowball that way. It starts small, but then You'll get another deployment very quickly. You'll even be considered for daily claim work in your area. So what I would do is go back to all of those firms that you've got yourself on, and I suggest you get on about 30 of them. So if you're only on a half a dozen, no way. Get back to filling out your roster, get your new resume going, and get those all submitted again, because if you don't have, like I started with about 40 firms, and when I first started, and I took everything that came in. I don't care what kind of junk it was, how little they were paying, I took it. And that way I was able to get some daily claims and get some daily claim experience that really helped out. But the resume is key, guys, and now that you've been deployed and you've got that on your resume, it starts from here. It just goes up from here on, so you're in a great position. So thanks. So guys, I love the fact that everybody's showing up. I guess you guys missed me. We got 20 in here now. I've only had a couple introductions, so if you're hiding in the distance, make sure you at least send me a note, tell me where you're from, what's the status of your adjusting, whether you're a new adjuster, old adjuster, been doing this 10 years, or you're brand new, just thinking about it. You're welcome, Takesha. I don't know why I have a hard time saying your name, but so sorry if I'm butchering it. So, yeah, so guys, I've missed y'all. It's been crazy. It was a very profitable catastrophe for me. I love big events like this. This is where I get to shine, make a lot of money, and come home with a big bag. So it's to me, I love, and this will all happen to you guys as you get more and more experienced. You'll find your efficiency going up. You'll find the carriers you like working for. And then each catastrophe you go on, it's going to be more and more lucrative, and then you're going to love it, and you're going to be addicted to it. So you're going to be like, please send me out. So I had to decompress for, I'd say, well, I actually ended up going on a cruise. So if anybody's following my page, you saw that I went on a cruise for 4 or 5 days, and then I, got back here at the house, and then it was like, man, I just need some time to recoup. And so literally, I got a couple daily claims, and then I've just been chilling out for the last week, but the claims haven't started back up, so it's really slow, but I needed it because I was tired. All right, Marlise from Charlotte, brand new, no experience, learning. Oh, that's great. Welcome. There's nothing wrong with learning. We all had to start there. And Sebastian, 1 year, hail in Colorado. Oh, I love Colorado. And Helena in South Carolina, or Helene, yes, very good. Sebastian, good job. All right, JJ from Tennessee, been adjusting about 6 months, been pretty busy overall since I started. Yeah, well, Tennessee is like totally awesome. You guys got so much hail. I knew a guy who was gone for 5 months there on a catastrophe assignment in Tennessee. So lucky dog, living in the right spot at the right time. Hey, if you lived in North Carolina, we haven't had any hail in like 2 years, it seems like. So we had the slowest last 1.5 to 2 years that we have ever had in North Carolina. And so when this hurricane hit, I was so happy. I was like, yay, finally get some work. I hate to say it, but we get excited when there's storms. All right, Rockwell. All right, very good. Rockwall, okay, very cool. All right, so if you guys have any questions, this is your time to ask them because this is free. Yes, Oklahoma. Hey, we're coming into hail season. It's got a couple months yet, but yeah, Colorado and Oklahoma are going to be our first states that are going to get some hail. Dallas, definitely northern Dallas is going to get tons of hail, Sebastian, for sure. So Dallas is a great place to be for hail. You guys got killer hail for the last couple of years. JJ, do I expect to be busy over the next few months in North Carolina? No, I expect to be crawling for the next 2 months. So typically, this is just North Carolina, but I think it's pretty much, unless you've had a big event in your state, meaning like Tennessee's got incredible hail here for like the last year, then basically you're going to have residual work throughout the whole winter and all the way into next spring of hail claims that keep coming up as people inspect the homes. So you're going to have tons of work throughout the winter months. Whereas that's kind of how I am here in North Carolina, because we'll normally get a great spring hailstorm, and then we'll normally get one late in the summer. And then that takes us right through the winter and right through the spring to the next year, and then we do it all over again. Well, we didn't have those hailstorms. And so we've been super dry and super slow. We don't have the residual claims for hail. And it's just a bummer year. So that just happens. But that's the first year in 7 years that I've been here in North Carolina that we had that. So you just take it with a grain of salt and just wish for the next. Can you name that website used for finding firms? Yeah, catadjuster.org. That is the only place that you will find a list of the firms, and a credible place, because what they do is they have a lot of advertising on there. So catadjuster.org, they do a ton of advertising, and these guys pay to get their splash screen up, or if they're looking for people, they have to pay for the ads to get up on that catadjuster.org. So you see a lot of the guys that are great firms, got some money, a little advertising budget. Those are the guys you can get signed up for, but they also have a list where you can get signed up. So listen carefully, guys, this is super important. Create a profile on catadjuster.org for you as the adjuster. And basically what that's doing is it's kind of like building your own resume. It's telling you can click the boxes for which states you have licenses in. And a lot of these firms go to that site if they're looking for somebody and say, okay, I'm looking for somebody in North Carolina, and it'll weed out all the people that are on that directory, and it'll only give them a list of the people that have that license listed in their checkbox. I have received tons and tons of work off of catadjuster.org where firms have reached out to me, said, hey, I found your name on CatAdjuster. Wonder if you can handle some daily claims in your area or whatever. So if you are not listed on there, definitely get listed. And another trick is update something every month, because every time you update on that site, it pushes your name to the top of the list. A little trick for you guys, do it. And if you want to do it every week, it's even better. Because I was in there, when I first started, I didn't have a whole lot of experience, but every single time I got experience or a new license, I was updating my profile on that site. And then I kept on getting, hits from people calling me up and saying, hey, you want to start handling daily claims? I'm like, where'd you get my name from? And then they said catadjuster.org. So great site, it's free, doesn't cost you a penny to get on there, but it is a game changer for finding work. All right. Have I considered traveling to run dailies if possible? Well, JJ, the problem with dailies is they like to find people in their local area. So the firm will say, okay, so if I signed up on their roster, what they'll do is the firm will then say, okay, I got Daniel in North Carolina in the Raleigh area, and I got Joe over here in Charlotte. I know Daniel's not going to drive 3 hours to Charlotte. So if Joe's over there, then we're going to make him the guy that we go to if we get a claim around the Charlotte area. And we've got another guy in North Carolina, he lives down Fayetteville. Oh yeah, well, I'm not gonna make Daniel drive an hour and a half to Fayetteville, but if he's available, if Fred's available, well, we're gonna get him claims down Fayetteville. So it's not like you travel for daily claims. What they do is they just find out where your home base is. You contact every single firm out there and say, hey, I live here. I'd love to handle daily claims for you. What carriers are you handling claims for? I'd love to help you out. And then leave it at that. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But that's what I'm saying. You get on 40 rosters, then you got 40 people that you can contact and say, hey, I'm available for daily claims in this area. If you have anything, please let me know. That's the people you call every month and bug the tar out of if you're not working. And you just keep saying, hey, haven't heard from you in a month. I signed up with you a while back, and now I'm looking for daily claims. You got anything? And if you keep bugging them after a month, they're going to get tired of hearing from you, and they're going to find you something. So the firms are always looking for somebody, and they're always trying to improve their roster, and they're also trying to build their roster for catastrophe events. So if you improve yourself to be good, you can prove yourself to be faithful, you have good work ethic, they're going to see that, and then they're going to give you a chance. So definitely a great opportunity for daily claims. All right. Need to get better with Xactimate. Thoughts, Daniel? Yes. Oh my goodness. I hear this question a lot, and Kimberly said the same thing. Guys, Xactimate, I am in the process, and I hate to say it, but the last 2 months kicked my tail. You want to talk about kicking your tail? I was creating a course for level 1 and level 2 Xactimate training so that you can pass the test. It is super detailed. It's not just about Xactimate, but it's how to use the software, and also then and everything that you need to pass the test, but also how to use it practically. So think about software in this regards. Is somebody can tell you, okay, this button does this, and that might be on the test, but then when you get into the real world, you're like, when do I use that button? And so I experienced this for myself when I took the Xactimate exam, is that I knew the software inside out and backwards, but I didn't know how to use it in the real world. And so when I went on my first catastrophe, it was a hail claim, I was totally lost in the software because I knew all the buttons and I knew all what it did, I just didn't know how to use it. So this course that I'm creating is basically a combination of two things. What does the software do, and the practicality of when you would use each of those buttons and in what scenario. So currently I'm going to do a level 1. It's going to have like 15, 16 1-hour videos, and then level 2 is going to do the same. Got about 20 videos that are about 45 minutes to an hour long. I'm only halfway done. So if I hadn't been on the catastrophe, I'd actually have that course done by now. But at this point, I'm only halfway done. And I don't want to put out just level 1 because everybody then will be screaming, where's level 2? Where's level 2? So I'm kind of waiting for the whole thing to be done and get it out to you guys. It will be a relatively cheap option for you guys. I think I'm planning on doing something like $99 a month. You can sign up as a subscription each month if you want. You watch whatever you want in that month, and if you've learned it all and passed the test, well, guess what? You just passed level 1 and level 2 for 99 bucks. Takes you a little longer, then that's going to be 2 months of $99, and so on and so forth. But the cool thing about that is it's going to allow you then to go back later and refresh yourself on it. Maybe you are messed up and you just didn't figure it out. You're only paying that one cost again for an entire month of training. You can watch any of the videos again. So that's what I'm going to do. So just to kind of give a heads up, it's going to be ready soon, as soon as I get it done. But probably before the end of the year, I'm hoping to get it done. But like I said, the videos are extremely thorough, very, very hard to create, a lot of editing, but they are packed with information that I think you guys will really do well on. So the questions you guys have for Xactimate, I don't think I'm going to have one question after you watch these videos. You will have every answer you will ever need on how to use this software, how to pass the test, and you'll be like, hey, this is so easy now. I can do this in my sleep. So that's what my hope and dream is. My course it'll be a link, just like anything else. If you're not also attached to my Discord, there's a link in the description of this video. The Discord, for all you new adjusters, is a chat group. We got about 350, 400 people, I think, on there right now. It's kind of like, in the old days, CAD Adjuster had a chat group, and it went away. And so I decided to open up Discord, which is basically a chat group that adjusters can go to and just chat about anything and everything about adjusting. So look at my discussion, and it will certainly help you out as far as any questions. And there are a lot of Xactimate questions there too. There's deployment, resume, how to get deployed, questions about materials, there's everything. There's also like 14 different chapters, so it's very handy. So don't forget to check that out. So the courses like I said, I'll have a link and they'll be available, and then you'll just be able to buy a month at a time and watch all the videos you want. If we are looking for daily claims, should we already have our own Xactimate? Yes. You can't handle daily claims unless you have an active subscription for Xactimate. So that's a tough one because it's an investment, and they send you the assignments through your Xactanalysis subscription. So if you don't have an active one, then you can't receive any assignments. So it's kind of like you need to say, okay, if you're going to send me assignments and I'm going to be active, but you got to keep it active because you never know when they're going to send you a new assignment. If you let that subscription lapse in 1 month and they send you a file, it's going to come back to them that you're no longer active and they can't send you the file anymore. That would be a bad thing. So once you commit and you're paying that, you really need to just keep it up and see that as a business expense that you're going to have to always pay. And You know, that's just part of doing business. So Xactimate's a great program. Some of the firms offer discounts. So as you get to start handling claims with certain firms, you might want to talk to them and say, hey, do you have a discounted price for Xactimate? And that's like if I buy it through the firm, they get $100 off or whatever per month or more. It's very helpful, very helpful. If you're handling claims with them, they normally do have a discount. Working my first storm, actually, where I live in Clearwater, Florida, Hurricane Helene and Milton. I wanted to purchase a couple licenses of other states. Which states would you purchase? I would just say deviate. I would say anything on the coastal. So think of it as from the Gulf Coast of Texas. So if I draw a circle around the Texas, all the way around the coast. So you've got your Mississippi, Alabama, then you got Georgia, Florida, all that around there. You got South Carolina, North Carolina, and then Virginia doesn't have one. And that's probably where I would stop as far as coastal. They don't need anything any higher than that. They don't have a whole lot of storms up north. But then on the inside, I would look up by the Great Lakes. You got your Minnesota, you've got Indiana. Maine is super cheap, so you might as well get it. Not Maine, Michigan, sorry. Michigan's super cheap, it's like $5. Let's see. You've got Kentucky there, Tennessee. I don't know if, yeah, Kentucky has one. Tennessee, I don't think has one. I could be wrong on that. Oklahoma, I think I said that. Alabama, yeah. So it's kind of like in Colorado, I don't think has one. So yeah, so you just kind of look at where the storms come from. And it depends where you live too, because if you live in the middle of the state, then you may be looking more west too. You could go to California. You can't actually get a license for California unless you live there for a couple of years. You can work under emergency licenses or catastrophe licenses, so that's really cool. But yeah, so it just depends on where you live. But I kind of look at it as the deployment's going to be a hurricane, and they normally come on the Gulf, Florida, up the coast of North Carolina, like up that whole eastern seaboard. And then tornadoes are not big money and not big work, but hailstorms are. So you look at the really heavy hailstorms, Colorado, Texas. Definitely got to get through Texas because there's tons of storms in Texas. But there's also a lot of adjusters in Texas. So getting deployed is actually not as easy in that area unless you live in Texas. They're gonna pull from everybody in Texas before they're gonna pull people from out of state. So if you live outside of Texas, it's good to have the license, but it's going to have to be a big event before they're going to start pulling people from out of state for that. Texas and Louisiana first for $5. The Michigan is first. Yeah, yeah. It's just $5 every year. So yeah, definitely Michigan. They have snowstorms. They have freeze claims. They do occasionally get some hail up there. A lot of wind in Indiana. Indiana's a great license to have. Indiana gets a ton of wind. Hail too. Minnesota definitely gets some snow and some great hail, huge hail. So yeah, just depending on the state. So what I would do, if you're kind of looking like priority wise, I would pull the weather and say, what are the weather events? What is the most common weather? And this is where I love ChatGPT. Use it for everything when I'm looking for just a question to be answered. ChatGPT, what are the best storm areas? Where do the most hailstorms happen in the country? In the U.S., or something like that. You got to be specific, and it'll tell you. And so you go, wow, hailstorms. Yeah, you're buying a roof on every claim practically if you have a hailstorm. So you mark those states down. Then you say, ChatGPT, where are the most wind claims or wind insurance damage that happens throughout the year? And it'll give you a list of the states. So what you'll do is it kind of formulates a list. You keep on asking the same questions, and then a lot of the states will keep overlapping. And then that's how I would determine where I would get my licenses, is based on, hey, where do the most storms happen? And what you're gonna find is most of your coastal states are being hit every single year with a hurricane of some sort or some kind of wind event. And then they're susceptible to other severe weather. And then, there's some other states that always get hail, like Colorado and Oklahoma and Texas. And so those are great storm states for hail. And so Indiana does get wind and hail too. So it's just, that's how I would determine what states I get. For currently right now, I have like 13 licenses. I used to have like 25 or 24 or something like that when I was a desk adjuster, but I don't feel like I need all those anymore. But the 13 are pretty much the coastal, some of the inner ones, and the ones that have the most severe weather. Deviate, live in Florida. It's a great place to live, even though it's changed so much. I was so disappointed with Orlando. I felt like a minority, and I was 1 foot taller than every person in the entire place. So, because I'm tall, but everybody's short. All right, JJ, you're welcome. I'm glad to do this. If you guys like anything I'm doing, make sure you hit the like button. Also have a super thanks button on this video. Look for it if you don't see it. But if you like any of the content, love for you guys just to hit the super thanks button. Give me a little bit of joy there. Ooh, snow, yeah. Well, snow claims are pretty good for weather stuff. You know, you're gonna handle some good claims for weather. Now it is hard to get around. You're gonna have a lot of tree damage when weather hits, big snowstorms. You got a lot of tree down. But it's going to tear up the house. It's going to be a big estimate. And so then you're looking at making some good money on the estimate when you've got a tree on a house. Yeah, guys, if you're not using ChatGPT for all your questions and answers, also writing emails, answering emails, like if you get an email from somebody, you just copy and paste it and put it in there and say, reply to this email. And you put that, you copy and paste that email, it'll type you something so beautiful back. You'd be like, man, I sound good. I use it for everything. ChatGPT is truly a life changer when you're looking to get something done fast, you want questions done fast. I don't use Google anymore. I literally don't use Google to search anymore. I use ChatGPT. ChatGPT takes all the information on the web, combines it, critiques it, overlaps it, looks for all the relative information and throws it into one statement. There is no more, I wonder if that's correct, I wonder if that's correct, I wonder if that's correct when you get Google, because you get every single answer in the world. ChatGPT takes all of that information, kind of correlates it and says, oh, everybody here is saying the same thing about this, that must be the correct answer, and throws it in as the answer. So that's why I love ChatGPT, is you're going to get the most correct answer without wasting a bunch of time to get it. All right. Hey, Fitty, how's it going? Yes, I did kill it down in Florida. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you guys what I made, but trust me, it was life-changing money. Life-changing money. It was very, very good. So the current issue is I currently have a two-wheel drive, can't upgrade at this deployment, maybe next. If it's a front-wheel drive, that's all I got. You can get anywhere on a front-wheel drive vehicle. You don't need a four-wheel drive. Yeah, so if you get into a snow issue with that, no big deal. No big deal. All right. Anybody else in here that hasn't introduced themselves? Oh, F-250. Oh, so you got rear-wheel drive. Yeah, that's kind of slippery on the snow. No good. Unless you throw about 150 pounds or 250 pounds of sandbags in the back. Yeah, that's kind of rough. Trucks. I have a Toyota Highlander front-wheel drive. It gets me anywhere. Anywhere I want to go. Slippery, wet, you name it. Hilly. I love it. All right, any other questions? You guys, load me up. This is it. This is your time to ask the questions. You're sitting there going, dang, I wish I'd asked that question. Make sure you hit the like button if you find anything good here. Don't forget to, like I said, get into my Discord. Trust me, there's so much information in there. We got some really great guys over there. They will answer so many of your questions. These are adjusters that are probably working in the field or really close to working in the field. Very helpful. I love the conversations over there. I don't pop over there very often because I stay really busy, but it's kind of cool when I jump in and I start talking to these guys. I'm amazed the conversation is pretty right on. It's, you know, if somebody's sitting there online and they just go, man, I'm building an estimate, I can't remember what that line item is. They'll go up there and say, hey, do you know what the line item is for this? And they'll throw a little picture on there, and then 5 seconds when somebody will write back and go, yeah, it's this. And so it's lifesaver if you're sitting there struggling with what certain items were. Other than ChatGPT, yeah, Discord, Kimberly, it's in the link in this description. Discord is basically a chat group. You set up a chat and everybody can join, and it's free, and it's just a place to chat and talk about everything. So yeah, I built it a couple years back and it's doing really well. Other than ChatGPT, what programs or websites should we know about? Circon. Circon is going to be a good one, or NPR is another one. These are for your licenses, organizing your licenses and making sure you remember when to renew them. So if you start getting licenses and you're like, I can't remember when I had those licenses, you can order your licenses, you can organize your licenses on those two sites. So Circon, let's see what that, it's just circon.com, I think. Let's see. Circon, yeah, Circon, SIRCON.com. Okay, so this is for license renewals, you're printing your licenses, applying for your licenses. It's really helpful. And NPR is the National Public Registry of licenses. So, I'm sorry, it's NIPR. Sorry, I've been saying NPR. That's the radio station. NPR. No, NIPR does the same thing. You can. This is kind of like a home page for somebody to look up your license, but you can also print your license, renew your license, or apply for a new license. So great, both those sites are very helpful. What I like about Circon, I signed up, I think I pay $5 a month, if that. I don't even think I pay that much, maybe $5 a year. It's something really minuscule. And they send me little reminder notes when my licenses are coming due. So it's really helpful. It organizes your license. You can change your address. You can do all these things. Really cool, very handy. It's a great site for adjusters. So that's definitely a good one. Software, let's see. Only other one, I mean, I have a really good snippet. What I mean by that is you can use snippet on Google, but I don't use that very often. The one I do is, this one's called, hold on a second. This one is called Snagit, SNAGIT. And I did buy their upgraded version because it is so helpful and so handy. But you can screenshot, you can add text to your things, arrows, shapes, stamps, selections, I mean, all sorts of things. Very helpful when you are trying to highlight a photo or you're taking a screenshot of a PDF from somebody who sent you something. Maybe they send it to you by your phone, like text, and it's the wrong format. And instead of having to change the format, I just snag it. And it's basically a snapshot of any screen, any picture, any item, and it creates a PDF out of it. So super helpful program. I love that. Those are really very handy programs that I use all the time. I'm trying to think if there's any other programs. I mean, Word and Excel, all the same old thing. If you don't have a Microsoft Office program, like subscription, I definitely would recommend that. That's going to just, be your mail, Excel, Word, the whole thing. You just pay I don't know what it is, $59 a year or something like that. That's definitely the way to go for just ease of organizing your subscriptions, just so it's easier instead of having to buy each individual one. You just get, use it how many times you want. And there's the things, some of those subscriptions, people look at it and go, well, I don't really want to pay that every month or every year. But I just look at it as like, it's a business expense. I can write it off and I'm going to use the program for sure. And it's just helpful. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm not sitting there struggling of buying these subscriptions. They're just good programs. They work out. LibreOffice is a great alternative to Office if you want it free. Okay. Email uses Proton. I've heard that. It's free like Google. Yeah, there's lots of options. You just have to find the one that works for you. And just to understand, that's just a business expense that you'll be able to write off. And that's just part of life. sometimes things cost money and you just have to kind of bite the bullet and just say, okay, well, it costs money, but it's going to give me a service that I think is worth it, and that's just the cost of doing business. So, do you guys have any other questions? We still got 21 people in here. Very quiet. Everybody's very quiet. You guys getting sleepy? It's not even turkey day yet. Can't blame it on the turkey. Can't say, hey, I'm so tired. I've been eating too much turkey. No, can't do it. What insurance company did you do claims for down in Florida? I used Universal North America is who I worked for. That is a great insurance company. You probably guys, it's Florida based, and love them. They do, as far as a 3-tab shingle, if you have one shingle damaged, they will buy the whole roof. They don't like 3-tab shingles, and so they consider them they leak all the time. They're susceptible to wind, so they'll buy the roof. So for me as an adjuster, obviously I get paid more if I buy the roof. So I love walking into a house and seeing 3-tab on the roof, because I can guarantee somewhere on that roof there's a wind damaged shingle. I just need to find it and take a picture of it, and I'm buying the roof. So most of your carriers don't do that. So that's why I love Universal North America. They're really slow on the customer service side, though. So that's their only downside, is that we get a lot of follow-up emails, phone calls from the insureds saying, hey, no one's called me. It's been 2 weeks since you inspected. Why has no one called me? So, yeah, it's Universal North America. How do I feel about NACA? I don't know. It's been a long time. I went to one of their conferences a long time ago and never went again. So I think they're good, because I got a bunch of continuing education classes when I went and learned a lot from the vendors when I was there. It's worth go. I would go. Check it out one time, see how it goes. Yeah, you got to pay a bunch to go to it, but yes, Universal North America. That's it. Very good. I also work for Progressive, but their work has really slowed down. And Horace Mann Insurance, they're school teachers. They're a smaller insurance company. I used to do UPC Insurance, but they went out of business out of Florida, so I'm not doing them. So Pennsylvania Insurance, still am. Okay, very good. Oh yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. You guys, the guys in Florida, they made it off, because the point is that once the cat adjusters leave, then there's tons and tons of work for the daily guys that'll last for years. And what's nice is you got a great storm date, and they always keep going back to it. Yeah, booked out December 5th. I don't doubt. I mean, literally, when we have a hailstorm, we had a big hailstorm here several years back, 2.5-inch hail. We had every adjuster from everybody in the entire country came here, it seemed like. But when they left after a month, man, we still were busting our tail doing 5 a day for months and months and months, just trying to catch up with all the demand. So yeah, when a big event happens and the cat guys are brought in, once they go home, it's great for the local guys. I love it. Love it, love, love it. Oh yeah, Deviate, you're gonna be busy probably easily till the spring before you will see things slow down. And it'll just keep coming in, because here's the thing, you gotta remember, when somebody finds out there's wind damage in a subdivision, so now you got the roofers in there, they're replacing the roofs. Well, guess what? The nosy neighbor's like, hey, what's wrong with his roof? And then roofer will come over and say, hey, I'll do a free inspection for you. And jumps up there and finds the same wind damage that we found on the guys that are getting it replaced, and they call in a claim. Now, obviously, it may not be your insurance carrier that you're handling, but that's how it happens. It keeps residually happening, is that as the roofs are being replaced, they're doing free inspections for 5 houses around them, and all the nosy neighbors are there and going, hey, Jones has got a free roof, I want one too. And so then they call them up and get them to do a free inspection. They open the claim and then find out there's damage there. So that's how the residual work happens. Instead of, you can't walk around to the neighborhoods and start soliciting work, so these roofers can't do that. They can't go around and just say, hey, I'll do a free inspection, when they're not even in the subdivision to begin with. That's why they have the no soliciting signs on these subdivisions, is they don't want roofers walking around doing that stuff. But once they're in the neighborhood and they're replacing the roofs, then they can start getting 5 or 6 that are around them and just keep working the neighborhood like that. You'll see the whole street just kind of, they'll start putting signs up, and then all of a sudden every single sign is the same roofing company down the entire street because he's been selling the street. After he does one, he's going to do the whole street. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Lots and lots of work. Lots and lots of work for the guys who live local to the hurricanes. I particularly like hail events because not only does it do the roof, you're going to get siding, windows, fences, personal property, screens. You know, it's going to bust all the corners off these plastic windows, so the frame. So I'm taking out the whole window. I'm getting high dollar, put these things back, ripping off all the siding, putting it back. High dollar for that. Dents on all the fascia metal. So I'm replacing all the fascia metal across the whole house. Gutters, very expensive for gutters. So here you go. You're not just doing the roof. Now you're talking about everything on the exterior. Every single thing on the exterior on a big hail event. And so you could be looking at a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 claim for one house. And you could do 4 or 5 of those a day. Nah, you're talking about some serious cash. Serious cash. So that's what I like. Any other questions, guys? Don't forget to hit the like button. We got 5 likes. Only 5 people like what I'm talking about. 5. Come on, 5 people. Come on. Take your finger. Push the like button. Any other questions? Outside of getting your license, Xactimate level 1, 2. Oh, you got to get your State Farm certification. So insurances. Oh, thanks so much, DV8. Insurance carriers have certifications before you can work their claims. So if you want to work State Farm, you're going to have to get State Farm certified. Okay, it's a pretty easy test. You just got to take it from a firm. Alacrity is a good firm to take it from. But yeah, you just go down there. You might have to spend a couple days at their office in Louisiana. You take the certification. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you. You're going to do great, Kimberly. You've got a good attitude, and I like people who are enthused about doing this job because it's, you know, I talk to a lot. You won't believe how many people. Well, anyways, go back. I'll talk to you guys in a minute about that. But yeah, so you take it from Alacrity. They'll get you auto certification and property certification in 1 weekend. And the good thing about that is that if you're not working, then they may throw you over into the auto and you start working State Farm Auto at a desk adjusting position. I started there. It was great. I learned a lot of policy stuff, made $100,000 a year sitting in a chair. It was great. I would never turn down that opportunity because I learned a lot of policy. I learned a lot about State Farm. I learned a lot about auto that I did not know. Okay, so then when you have all this experience in auto, then transitioning over to property is much easier because then they say, oh, he knows all this policy stuff. And then you get an opportunity to jump right over into property. So yeah, Liberty Mutual's got a certification. I'm trying to think who else has got it. Yeah, good, Kimberly. Yeah, auto's a great opportunity. I mean, tons and tons of work. Think about it. You get a flood. See, here's where it's different. With flood, you have to be flood certified as an adjuster to go work that. Auto, I can work flood, I can work hail, I can work crashes, I can work fire, I can work tornadoes. All those things damage cars, and everybody's got 2 cars or more. So think about it. Not just one house. Now you're talking 2 and 3 cars per household in the world. So when you get an event like a hurricane or whatever, you've got some serious debris flying around, hitting these cars. People are turning in insurance claims left and right. You're going to stay super, super busy as an auto adjuster, and the deployments are just nonstop. They're busy. And so it's a great opportunity to get lots of work if you're sitting around doing nothing. Yeah, flood takes 4 years, and they want to see that you're handling daily claims on a regular basis, like hundreds and hundreds of claims a year, consistently. And the 4 years is not just, I've been in a 4 years as an adjuster. They want 4 years of consistent running daily claims and experience writing estimates, they're looking for 300 to 400 claims per year minimum for 4 years. They want a claim a day, basically, to prove that you're an adjuster that deserves to pass your flood exam. And the flood exam is hard, so that's another one. So yeah, so in order to get a flood adjusting license, you've got to have 4 years of consistent experience, and you got to have a lot of claims under your belt, not just 4 years having a license. So there's a difference. So, I don't know what I was going to talk about earlier. There was something I was going to talk about. Do the smaller firms pay better than the bigger firms? I've been told that the bigger ones are to learn, and then you earn with the smaller ones. No, I wouldn't say that. I'm working for the bigger firms because they handle lots of different carriers. Like Alacrity has like 15 insurance carriers that they get claims for. So depending where you live, you've got 15 potential opportunities to have daily claims in that with that one firm. And for a while, that was my primary firm. Things have changed over the years, and a couple of their carriers have changed, and so I'm slowing down a little bit with them, and so I went with a couple other firms. But yeah, they provide a ton of work. So the bigger firms, to me, have a better opportunity to find work because they handle more insurance companies. The smaller firms tend to get the crummy carriers. What I mean by that is the bigger firms are proving that they have all the people necessary to do an excellent job for the insurance company. And so they're going to give them the priority of claims because they know they can send out 150 claims or whatever, and they're all going to get handled. Whereas if you've got a small firm, they only got a couple adjusters, and they give them 150 claims, they're dead in the water. They're going to be months before they can handle them all. So the bigger firms are going to get more claims. They're going to be first on the list as far as priority of getting claims. They're going to have more opportunities for you to find work in-house with one firm rather than going with several others. So the bigger firms to me are better. Unless you have a mid-sized firm that's handling a ton, like one specific carrier, just a ton of work. And yeah, so it just depends. But every carrier is different and every firm is different. So the best thing to do is to find out, hey, how many claims a week can I get from you with this carrier? And if they say, oh, I only got 1 or 2 a month, you can try that. And then get out there and get some more, but that's a frustrating scenario to only have 1 or 2 from one carrier per month, because then I've got to go get another carrier and try and do the same thing with 1 or 2 claims. So the bigger the firm, the more claims they're going to get. So just plain simple. Big firms turn me down. It was a smaller firm that brought me on. If you haven't worked yet, just get on with anyone. You're right. Yeah, the smaller firms are definitely the ones you got to go to get started, no doubt. Got your license 9/28, was working 10/21. Very cool, very cool. Have you ever worked staff? No, I have not. Recently got a job with Allstate adjusting since independent was too much travel for me. Got it. Yeah, you got to do what's right for you. There's nothing wrong with staff. I know a lot of people that went staff. In fact, I knew a lot of independents that swapped over because they needed the consistency of work and needed to pay the bills. So, but their wife also worked, so they had 2 incomes. Staff adjusting is going to pay a little less, so that's going to be a little hard to support one. If you only have one person working, it's going to be hard to support a family on just staff adjusting. So just keep that in mind. Great opportunity though for getting lots of experience. And hey, you can always swap back over into the independent later and say, hey, I've handled 10,000 claims as a staff adjuster, and I'm ready to move into dailies. And your resume is going to look totally amazing. So. Eric, thank you. Love my videos. Awesome. Very cool. Trinidad. Yeah. Very cool. All right. So just saw you were live. Hello, South Carolina. Hey, Michael. Hey, long time no see, man. How you been? How you been? Yeah, I sent out a note, kind of short notice. It's gone for a couple months, so this is my first live since I've been back. So, Jared, just moved staff cat with Allstate as well. Moved to independent, has gone well. Give it a year, see what happens. Hey, nothing wrong with it, Jared. Like I said, when I was working as a desk adjuster for State Farm, I kind of felt like I was staff. You know, sat at a desk, pretended like I worked for State Farm. Hey, I'm State Farm, not Jake, but I'm Daniel. You know, so I actually had to just pretend like I was staff adjuster, and you know, learned a lot of stuff. It's not what I would do again. It's just once you get a taste of daily claims and cat work, you realize that's the better way to go. But you can't a lot of times jump straight into it. It did work out for me, but it doesn't always work out that way. So I always recommend taking a desk position to begin with. Get your experience, get your resume looking good, and then you're set for life. It'll just keep coming. Bragg, public adjusting only affects getting hired for staff or independent as well. Yes, public adjusting is, you got to pick a side. So public adjusters or independent adjusters. You got to pick a side. And the reason being is there's a conflict of interest for the insurance carrier for if you have ever been a public adjuster. The reason being is they know a public adjuster is going to be very biased towards the insured. And for some reason, they think that you're not capable of being neutral once you've become a public adjuster. So the firms have been specifically told by a lot of the carriers that in the application process of when you're signing up to get on a roster for the firm, they will ask you specifically, have you ever been a public adjuster? And if that question is on the roster and you have been, you might as well forget about asking for work from that firm because you won't get hired. It's a very strong conflict of interest, and the carriers are the ones that are directing the firms and saying, no public adjusters at all, ever, past, future, tense, whatever, can work our claims. They're very, very biased in that regards. Now, could somebody slip through? Sure, but it doesn't happen very often. It's not that a PA is bad, so it's just you have to remember the conflict. They are going to inflate their estimates as high as possible, not in an illegal sense, just like they're going to say, okay, these cabinets are not standard, these are upgraded. And I'm like, no, they're particle board, they're not upgraded. But they're going to do everything in their power to get that cabinet price bumped to an upgraded cabinet. Or they're going to say, this baseboard's not MDF, it's solid wood. And unless you catch it, which solid wood is very expensive for trim, you know, it's probably particle board or it's finger jointed white pine. And so if they start putting in solid wood, yellow pine or greater, then all of a sudden, you know, if you're replacing all this baseboard in the whole house, then you're talking about a big upgrade on an estimate. Maybe $1,000 more to buy that trim. So what they're typically doing is they're just making sure that every single possible line item on that entire estimate is pushed a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. And they'll justify things like saying, you know, the carrier teaches us, like for drywall repairs, if it's 4 square feet, I got to put in 4 square feet. Well, they'll say, well, you know, there's going to be overlap, and so it's really an 8 square feet drywall repair. And I agree with them, but that's not how we, as adjusters, are told to write estimates, is that we're told to say, hey, 4 square feet damage, 4 square feet repair. So that's a little tricky. Sorry, my nose is really itchy today. Sorry. So that's a little bit of I get their justification, but we can't put that on the estimate. So they will. They'll say, hey, 4 foot damage, really an 8 foot repair in order to make sure we get coverage for all that. So I get their point, but so anyways, the insurance company knows that their estimates are going to be pushed to be excessive. And it really does add up. Like they'll use overhead and profit on everything, including garbage removal. Like, I don't need a supervisor to watch people remove the garbage. I don't need a supervisor to watch somebody re-roof a house. But they will put that on every estimate, irregardless, every single line item, including cleaning. Like, I'm gonna watch somebody, you know, sweep the floor. No, I'm not. But they wanna put it on, and so their estimate ends up being tens of thousands of dollars bigger than it should be. And the carrier knows this. And so that's why they're going to be really hard against hiring you if you have any experience as a PA and trying to be in an independent adjuster side. So, hey, once a PA, got to stay a PA. Independent, hey, be an independent for a while, and if you're tired of being an independent, go be a PA. You can do that. You can go that route. And I know a lot of people did it, but you can't come back. So that's just my 2 cents, but that's how it works. Oh, yes, you're right. Deviate. The biggest nightmare for PAs is their scheduling. Oh my goodness, in Florida is like horrendous. I was down there, and the first call to the PA, yep, we're three weeks out. I'm like, no, you're not. I said, you probably just saw the guy the other day, and I said, you can probably see him in less than a week. Nope, we're busy. I can do you a nighttime appointment. I can see you 7 o'clock at night. No, not doing nighttime appointments. So I ended up having several arguments with this PA, with several PAs. I mean, because it started getting to the point where I was getting PAs on every call, it seemed like. And so I got to the point where, you know, if you're not firm with them, you've got to really put your foot down and go, listen, we're here to take care of the insured. I would hate that this claim would be pushed over into a purposeful delay where you're not trying to handle the insured's claim in a timely manner. Well, guess what? That's fraud. That's an insurance infraction that we could actually file a petition against that public adjuster and say, you're not handling this person's claim in a timely manner. You are purposely trying to avoid inspection. That's a violation of the insurance code. So I kind of throw that stuff at them and go, if you'd like me to file a complaint against the Department of Insurance for you, I'd be more than happy to do it, but I'd like to see this claim within a week, or I would like to have your permission to inspect without you there. And it's amazing how fast, within 4 or 5 days, you can line up a time for them exactly when it's convenient for you. So just a little bit of information there for public adjusters. Now, obviously, if you've got the time and they're saying a week out, okay, that's reasonable, I can do it. But these are the guys that say 3 weeks, and I'm like, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen, fella. You're gonna see this claim within a week to a week and a half, and that's the max. So figure it out, and my times are the morning, or my time's the afternoon. Whatever your time has to be, you're gonna put in a time, and you're gonna say, this time I like it, if you can't do it, I'm gonna do it without you. So you get somebody there. And they'll whine and complain and say, oh, we're so busy, we're a small firm. And I go, well, I guess you shouldn't have taken on so much work. If you can't handle the claims, then you're not taking care of the insured very well. You start insulting their personal business side of things, and it's amazing how fast they'll all come forward and say, okay, we'll meet you on this day. So that's how I dealt with them. They were annoying. All right. Let's see, got your part 107, very cool. I use DJI drones, Michael, but I'm not allowed to use a drone on inspections. So insurance companies have not allowed independents to use drones, but hey, get practice with the drone, because I think it's going to change one day in the future. I have a feeling they're going to approve the fact that we can use drones. Like if we choose, like, there's going to come a point in time where people are going to say, too many people are falling off the roof at 12 pitches, 14-12 pitches, whatever. We need to be able to give them the authority to use a drone. And I think that's coming. Not to mention, there's a ton of great software out there that can now recognize hail damage and wind damage on a roof with a drone. I don't see why we can't use that software. I've got the ability to fly the drone. I got the ability to get the software. Let's make it happen. At this point in time, they don't, but DJI has incredible technology. That's really the only drone that I would do. Don't buy an offshoot, don't buy an off-brand. DJI, that's the only stuff. And it's the same thing with all the cameras. I use all their cameras, their GoPros, you know, it's all made by, it's not GoPro, but it's Pocket something or another. I can't remember what name it is. I also use their gimbals. I use their, all the video stuff is DJI. So it's phenomenal company, phenomenal product. All right, let's see. I got a bunch of notifications that came up here. You probably hear all the buzzing going on. Well, see, the carriers, they don't have the authority to add or subtract a public adjuster. They're not the ones hiring it. These are the insureds that are hiring it. So what happens in a catastrophe situation is the PA walks down the street, kind of solicits everybody and says, hey, you don't want the insurance company ripping you off, do you? Well, we can represent you. And especially works well in, like, say, for instance, Orlando, because of the fact that Hispanics, a lot of Hispanics down there don't speak English. And so a lot of your PAs are bilingual, and they really, they make them fear the fact that their communication will be hindered. They'll get ripped off because they don't speak English. So that's how they get their work. But I had multiple PAs tell me that they are 10 to 15% service fee to the insured on the settlement check. That's how they get their fee. So listen, I was writing $30,000 estimates every day of the week for these roofs down there. And if they're taking 10%, that's $3,000 that they're taking away from the insured just to speak Spanish to them. I mean, independents are not here to rip people off. We're here to do the neutral estimating, the unbiased for third party. And they're willing or been convinced that they're going to give away $3,000 of their settlement check to that PA just for having them help them walk through this claim. That's just evil. It's just evil. And then you got some that are charging 15 and some that are even charging 20%. So that's why I have such a yucky feeling towards PAs. Is they're very greedy. To me, I think they're just greedy. It's not a very, I even asked a couple guys, I said, how do you sleep at night? I said, it's just not right. I mean, do you realize if they do 5 claims a day and they're charging $3,000 or $2,000 a claim, I mean, they're making insane money for speaking Spanish and spending 30 minutes with the insured, doing no different than what I'm doing. It's just not right. It's just not right. I have a hard time with that. That's just my pet peeve. So Allstate, Allstate told me they are hiring more staff because of the cost of IAs and third-party inspectors. Yeah, they go through cycles like this, guys. They do it all the time. But what will happen is their staff will mess up. Third parties, they have a bunch of roofing companies that are pretending like they're adjusters, and they got one person has an adjusting license, the rest of them don't. Ladder Now, Seek Now, a whole bunch of other places like that. And they just screw up on the estimates so badly that they eventually come back to the independent adjuster. They go in cycles. So they'll do the staff adjuster for a while, but you have to remember, the staff adjuster is getting paid hourly. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to do a quality job. He just wants to take all day long and get his 8 hours in. So he'll do it slow. His production will be slow. His effectiveness will be mediocre, and his estimates will be mediocre. Just because he doesn't really care. It's just the work ethic of an employee. Whereas an independent cares. We want to make sure we get more work. We'll make sure we do an authentic, good estimate. And we want to make sure that everybody's happy. We don't have any kickbacks or any kind of file reviews or whatever. So we're going to write a thorough and good estimate. And we care about it. We care about doing that. So what'll happen is the staff will get the work for a little while. Then they'll have a bunch of people complaining that they wrote crummy estimates and they didn't include all the damages they could have found. And this gets back to the carrier, and the carrier then says, maybe we are forced to go back to the independents and give them more work. So it goes in this big cycle. They do all this changing, thinking they're going to save some money with the staff adjusters, and then they're coming right back to us. So independents are here forever. We're not going anywhere. So never have to worry about that. Yeah, I explained that, Bragg, but they try to save money. Staff adjusters are cheaper, but they don't do as good a job. So used to build houses, but haven't been on 2-story or higher roof in a long time. I'm not comfortable on 812 or steeper roofs when it's 2-story or more. Should I get rope and harness? Absolutely. Deviate. I grew up as a home builder, remodeler, so I've actually, I never stopped that. And I've been climbing roofs. I love roofs. I can climb in my sleep. But when I first started on roofs, because it had been about, it had been about 7 or 8 years, I guess, since I was a framer when I first started, or maybe even longer than that, maybe 10 years. I wasn't as comfortable on a roof, and so yeah, what I did is I took a rope and harness course, got my rope and harness training, and I felt all of a sudden I was like, wow, I feel comfortable. I know how to use the equipment, and it's just a simple little, seated belt thing. I've got a little repeller and climber, and I got this 200-foot rope, and I've got this little rope thrower. It's all the link in the description, like all the stuff that I use is in my description of this video. Down at the bottom, you'll see all the links for all the stuff. But yeah, keep that in your truck or car. And if you ever need it, you know, you've got this little nylon rope. It's got a little weighted sandbag on the end of it. You stand there at the front of the house, do a little whoop-de-whoop, and you whip that thing over the house. You tie your rope to the other end of it. You walk on the other side of the house and you pull that rope over the roof, tie it to a tree, and then on the front, you tie the other end of it to another tree, or to the front post, or to your bumper of your car, whatever happens to be close. And then you've got that rope, you know, you put your ladder beside the rope, and then you got, you know, you strap yourself in, you rappel, do whatever you need to do. And as you climb these roofs, you're going to become more and more comfortable with the rope, to the point where you're going to find out the rope's in your way. That's what ends up happening to me, is I was tripping on the rope because I was like, I'm trying to walk all over this rope, and eventually I felt so comfortable that I was actually stepping on the rope and probably almost causing myself to fall off the roof because I was stepping on the rope and it was rolling over. So eventually it got to the point where I was like, maybe I'll just put it up just in case, and if I need it, I'll use it. And then I started to feel a lot better. And the Cougar Paws boots, links also in the video, they are a game changer for climbing roofs. If you don't have Cougar Paws, you have to get those guys. There's no reason you should be on any roof without those. And then you also need to work on your flexibility for your calves. So think about a roof. So if you're at a 45-degree angle and your foot's coming down, it's got to go straight up in a 45. You've got to be able to bend that ankle all the way up to make sure that that boot is flat on the surface of the roof. If you're only standing on your toe, then you're only getting half the boot that is actually touching the surface, which the bottom of the boot is foam. So the more that you can get the flat of that entire boot flat on the surface of the roof, the more traction you will have. But if your calves and your ankles don't flex that way, then you're going to feel uncomfortable walking that roof. You're going to slip. And that's why a lot of guys don't get that. And so the easiest exercise to do that is calf raises. Stand on the end of a stair with your toes and just rise and lower. And stretch it out as far as you can. Rise and lower. And just keep doing that. Until eventually you can get your ankles to bend completely at a 45-degree angle. So here's flat, and you're on that 45-degree roof on a 12-12, and you're literally can stand on that 12-12. And that's what I can do at this point. So I can stand on a 12-12. And that's just because the boots hold incredibly so, but you got to make sure your boot is flat. If you're standing on your toes, you're going to slip. So that's pretty much what's going on with the boots. Yeah, well, getting on a roof with the wind is always going to be freaky, so no doubt. You dance every week. Legs are rock. That's cute. Yeah, well, no doubt. I mean, I love dancing too, so I'm not going to show you my moves, though. No way, no way. So, any other questions? Bragg, thanks for all the questions, and Deviate 22. Very good. Anybody else got any questions? I was just kind of going with the flow on this one today. Didn't really have any topics that I wanted to discuss. Yeah, no worries. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I like to talk. So if you just want to hear me talk, I can talk the whole 2 hours. I can talk forever. I never run out of things to talk about. So, yeah, but I love to hear your questions. So if you guys have any questions, I would love to hear from you. So yeah, so my next steps as far as the channel goes is we get back posting again. I actually got a video I need to post, real quick one. I'll get that uploaded, and then I'm going to be working on these level 1 and level 2 Xactimate videos. You guys won't see those videos because those are all being saved in the background on YouTube, and that eventually will be for level 1 and level 2 course that's going to come out. It's going to be $99 a month. Hey, if you can knock out all the training, like let's say you take a week off work or whatever you're doing, take your vacation, and you want to crash course this course, you could probably learn everything in 1 or 2 weeks. I mean, crazy overload, but you could actually learn. So you could literally learn how to pass level 1, level 2 Xactimate training in less than a month. You only have to buy it for $99. Now, the average cost for this program, and this is not my program, meaning they're only teaching you the program and what the buttons do, is $400. So that's the average on the internet for that price, is $400 for that program. I'm actually giving you adjuster training and Xactimate level 1, level 2 training, teaching you literally the inside outs of this program so that you will know exactly how to use it when you get on that catastrophe. Because that's the whole thing, guys. If you don't have real world ways, like why is this button? So what if this button is a square break tool? What does that mean? Okay, so let's say, oh, that's a square break tool. You just cut a wall in half, and this is how it works. And they just show you the button. And all of a sudden you're like, great. Well, I'm going to teach you about 4 or 5 different ways that I use the square break tool in order to build my house or build my walls or edit things. And so you're going to get to know the button, and you're going to get to know how it works in the program. Because the worst thing in the world is when you get on a catastrophe or you get into an event and you're trying to draw this roof and you're like, I don't know how to do this. No one taught me how to do this. They said this is what makes a hip roof, this is what it makes a gable roof, but I don't know how to build it when I'm actually trying to draw this thing. Well, my program is going to teach you that, so you'll be very confident. All right, created by Leon. Welcome. Haven't seen you here. Very good. I let my license expire and want to get back in, but it was so hard to get work. I was going broke. Network did a few desk, auto, and property and couldn't find anything. Yes. So let me tell you how finding work works. Okay, so for those who have struggled, maybe do a little bit and then you struggle. It's all about how many rosters you get yourself on. If you are finding just a little bit of work, it's probably because you're not on enough rosters. The rosters are the list of people that are associated to one firm, okay? A roster, one firm, one roster, okay? So you get on a roster, you're getting on one firm. I'm telling you, you need to be on 40 firms, 40 rosters, in order to make sure that everybody in the world knows that you're an adjuster and you're willing to work because you're in that area. And just remember, you are saying to that firm when you sign up on their roster, I live in X city in this state, please send me claims. So if you do that with 40 different companies, then everybody knows you are there. Now, where people fail, and this is probably what happened, Leon, is if you're not pursuing those firms, meaning about every 2 weeks, you should be calling those firms and saying, hey, I haven't heard from you. I signed up on your roster and I was hoping to get some claims and I haven't heard from you. I just want to let you know I'm still available. And then they'll go, oh, well, let me look you up. And then sure enough, they'll pull forward, they'll look at your resume, look at your applications, let you know if there's anything they're missing. Oh, I don't see you have State Farm certification. You might want to go pursue that. Well, they're going to tell you the reason why they haven't called you is because you're missing this. And until you have that, they're not going to call you. But they're not going to tell you that when you submit your original roster application. They're just going to say, okay, you got all the stuff filled in, your resume's there. Oh, great. Well, we'll give you a call if you need you. But you're never going to know if something's missing on that application that they personally are going to be looking for in order to deploy you or to give you a daily claim. So by following up with them, and I'm talking every 2 weeks, you call the same thing, you keep a journal, you write down the person you spoke with, the date and time, and what you talked about. You left a message, or you actually did talk to that person, you write a message of what you did down. Oh, she said I needed to call back in a couple days and talk to so-and-so. Well, guess what? And then call back in a couple days and talk to that person. But if you do this persistently with 20, 30, 40 rosters, they're going to get so sick and tired of hearing from you that they're going to give you some work. And that's how it worked for me. I learned it from a guy who told me to do it. I did it, and I was working extremely fast. But the persistence has got to be there. If you're not calling and you're not being persistent to find that work, then you're just a dot on a screen that, or on a big map that they say, hey, there's somebody here that actually can help us with claims, but you're a nobody. And one of the guys told me, who actually worked at the firm, said literally in 5 minutes, I don't know who you are after you called. We get hundreds of calls a day. I don't know who you are 5 minutes after you hang up. So unless you can stand out, so let's say that out of those 100 people that call them per day, only one person's calling, and then the next month it's 150 different people. But if you're calling every 2 weeks and you're talking to the same person, that person's going to get to know you and go, hey, that Daniel dude keeps calling me every week. He really wants to work. Let me see if I got some. Where does he live again? Oh, North Carolina. Oh, well, we actually had something come up in North Carolina and we couldn't find anybody. And all of a sudden, he gives you a call and go, wow, something just came up. And we got something in North Carolina for you. Do you want to do it? Heck yeah. Send it my way. And then you send this perfect product in, the best you can do, even if it takes you 3 hours longer to do it, and you send it in, and that firm will look at it and go, man, that looks great. That was a great looking estimate. It's very organized, very clean, neat, very few errors. And all of a sudden, you become their primary guy or gal because your product was good, you were persistent, you were likable, and all of a sudden, you now become the forefront person they use. And if you do that, guys, you will be working. You will be working more than you want. In fact, I did it, and I had to keep telling people stop calling me. So I had so many firms calling me because I was so persistent that I finally said, well, I can only work for 8. I mean, I'm working for 8 right now, but I'm only getting 1 or 2 claims each. But hey, guess what? That's 16 claims a week. I'm only getting 2 claims a week from each of these firms. Some only 1. It was really hard because I was working for all these different carriers and was pulling my hair out for trying to see. That's why I don't have any hair. I was pulling my hair out for the fact that I couldn't even understand all the different carriers that I was working for. I had to, go through my notes and be really careful about, oh, what does this carrier do? They do something different. But yeah, it worked out. And then eventually, as I started to get more and more claims from a specific carrier, I then was able to go back to the firm that was maybe only giving me 1 or 2 claims a month and say, I'm getting kind of busy with the stuff that I'm handling. You may need to find somebody else at this point in time to handle the claims. I really appreciate what you've been doing, but I got to stay focused on this firm over here. That you don't have to tell them. You just say this firm over here that's giving me more work than I can handle at this point. Now that may not be true, but it may be just the fact that you're saying, hey, this firm's stuff is really hard to handle. They're not paying very much. They're not paying mileage. I'm driving an hour's drive to get somewhere to these things, and then most of the time not turning out to be anything. Then you make an executive decision and say, that's not the most cost-effective company to work for, and maybe you move into somebody else. So that's how you kind of work through the system as you are becoming more of an experienced adjuster, as you start weeding out the people that are not paying as much or the more difficult carriers. You start moving into the people that have the better pay schedules. They're giving you more work, and you can actually start to focus on them and then say, hey, thanks so much for giving me all this work. I'm going to make you my primary firm that I work for. I just want to let you know that. And all of a sudden they feel all warm and special, and then they start giving you more claims because you just told them that. So it's politics, guys. You just got to work the system. But that's how it works. So at the beginning, you're taking everything. You're taking the trash. You're taking the no-name brand insurance companies. You're driving the extra miles. You take that stuff at the beginning because you're just trying to build up your experience. But think about it. On your resume, wouldn't it be great to be able to say, I work for this insurance company, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and you're putting that on your resume. You're saving all that stuff. You're putting it on your resume. You may only be handling 1 claim a week for that carrier, but you're able to put that on your resume. And so when somebody pulls up your resume and looks, and wow, he's working for all these firms, look at that. This guy's got to be good. And then all of a sudden they hire you because your resume looked great. So little tricks, it works. All right, so all I got to do is my CE and it's back to active. Yeah, continuing education courses are very important. Make sure you do those every year. Every 2 years, some of them have renewals for your home state. So it just depends. Some of them are every year, some of them are every 2 years. And that's what I'm saying, go to Circom, they keep track of all that for you. Certainly a better way. Level 1 cartel, sorry. For level 1 and 2 Xactimate training you offer, does it come with the subscription? No, it does not. So again, that would be something where you just have to invest in the subscription as part of your learning process. Again, save the receipt because it is a tax deductible deduction for that subscription. So, but that's just part of business, guys. You gotta remember, there's expenses in this business. Licenses. I've got 13 licenses. I only use 2 or 3 on a regular basis. But I keep these others because I don't know if one day I'm gonna be called to Alabama to run a hurricane. But the last thing I wanna do is the hurricane's hitting Alabama, they call me up and I don't have an Alabama license. And then it takes forever to get it. So it's just the cost of doing business, guys. You just gotta have to eat that price. It's a lot, I know it. Let's see. So if you offer level 1 and 2, for how much? Yeah, so I'm actually not offering the certification because Xactware is the only company that actually gives you the certification. That's where you take your exam, is Xactware. I'll be offering a program, a course basically, that helps you pass that test because that test is extremely hard. Now, let me explain why level 1 and 2 certification is extremely worth it. You have to have this, guys. So if you're not getting deployed, you're not getting work, it's probably because you don't have level 1 and 2 certification on your resume. So pretty much the certification is saying, I know how to use the software. That's plain and simple, guys. If you don't have it on, then anyone who looks at your resume says, he doesn't know how to use Xactimate. So the last thing we want to do is hire that person because they're going to do a crummy estimate, they don't know what they're doing, and we're probably going to get a really crummy product. So it is part of your resume. It's no different than State Farm certification. State Farm says if you don't have this certification, you cannot work State Farm claims. And that's pretty much just saying to the firm, nope, I don't know State Farm stuff, don't hire me for State Farm. Because they know the firm cannot hire you to handle State Farm claims unless you have those certifications. Same with Liberty Mutual. So it's like that, guys. It's just, these are training programs that the firms look at. It helps you on your resume. It shows that you're a professional. It's no different than, let's say if you're an electrician and somebody says, well, I don't see your electrician's license. Well, then I can't hire you. You don't have a license. And then some of these also have electrician certifications, safety courses, all these other things. Well, that's what they do, is they build that on their resume because it helps them to get work when it shows to whoever's hiring them, hey, I'm a professional. I have all this training, I have all these certifications. It proves to them that you're qualified to do this job. So that's why the level 1 and 2 certification is critical. So you could try to take the course from Xactware, but you're gonna fail. I don't care how much you study. If you don't take a course, and you don't have to take mine, you can take anybody's course, the more thorough the course, probably the better, because the test is extremely, extremely hard. You gotta remember, this is the software company saying, the people who created the software is saying, we're gonna give you a test to see if you know our software. And how hard do you think that test is gonna be? It's going to be to the top. It's the hardest test out there in a long time, and everybody takes it, tells me the same thing. It's hard, it's very hard, it's very specific. And it's the same thing with USAA. Their Xactimate side for taking their certification is very heavy on Xactimate, and you will fail that course faster than you can imagine either to get USAA certification to be able to handle their claims. So all they're trying to do is say, hey, we're gonna create a course for you. It should help you understand the program and learn how to pass the test. Does that mean you don't have to do any more studying? Absolutely not. There's tons of study material that they give you, and you want to review that as well as take somebody else's course. But I can tell you, it's going to get you 80% closer to passing a test if you take a course to try and pass that, than it will be just taking their material and studying it and hoping you pass. because you're not gonna pass. It's just, you're gonna fail. And so you gotta take a course. So I'm gonna be offering a course that just helps you get that certification, so you can get that, pass the test. And you don't have to take it once. Once you pass level 1, level 2, you're done. You don't have to take them again, but you put that on your resume and you're done for the rest of your life, and it just shows you know the program, and that really looks great on your resume. Daniel, try reaching out to Xactimate, tell them you're offering training for Xactimate, and they give you a demo access. No, they don't do it. They'll give you a demo access, but you can't do a lot of the things on the demo program. Like you might get access for a month or something like that, but you can't get another month. Well, maybe in certain situations they will. But yeah, you could probably get a demo for a month, maybe. I mean, they've been giving it for a couple weeks a lot of times. And then you just whine and complain and say, I need a little more time. I was busy with work. I need a couple more weeks, and they'll do that. So yeah, you can get a demo thing. You don't have to have an active subscription, but it certainly allows you to go into more of the features if you do have an active subscription, because it's missing a couple buttons if you don't have an active subscription. But yeah, if you want to save money, try the demo out. It definitely would work. Since I want to do auto, which company do you recommend? Start with State Farm, Liberty Mutual? Yeah, State Farm. That's the biggest insurance company in the world. Well, not the world, United States. I'll actually tell you a funny story. I was on the cruise and I met somebody who was an insurance adjuster from London. And she was telling me all these insurance companies, and I was looking like glazed all over. I was like, who are they? Well, they're the biggest company in the UK. And I'm like, I've never heard of them. I said, do you know State Farm? And they're like, no, who's State Farm? I was like, I can obviously see we're having, we have some conflict of interest. Now, Berkshire Hathaway, yeah, they had an insurance over there, and a couple others. But yeah, there's a little overlap. But most of the insurance companies did not overlap, so they didn't have a clue. So yeah, so State Farm is the biggest in America. So if you're never planning on being an adjuster overseas, no big deal. You don't have to. But yeah, it's going to be the certification you want. Liberty Mutual, I don't think it's as necessary, because if you get your State Farm, you're going to work for State Farm. You're going to have a ton of work. You don't need to worry about anything else. Van Life Adjustments, welcome. Just had a 7-day demo for placement testing with a large national IA firm. Probably going to pay for the subscription soon to start sketching in my own house. Very cool. Yeah, it's like I said, you just need an opportunity, and you'll learn it. And once you learn it, you'd never have to do anything more, because it's repetition. The more you use the program, the more you practice on it, the faster you'll get. So it's pretty cool. I love the program now because I'm so fluent in it now that I can write estimates. I can write the most trickiest roofs. I can write the most complicated floor plans very fast. And it just comes with time. I've wrote over, I'm gonna think, I would say over 6,000 estimates now at this point. And once you've done that, you've either sketched or you've drawn a floor plan, it just comes natural. It's super fast, and it's going to come naturally to everybody as long as you use it. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber, and hit the super thanks button. I think it's on there. You have to look for it. I don't know where it is, but it's not on my screen. But I wonder why it's not. I thought the super thanks was there. Oh yeah, down at the bottom of your chat, it says show your support for Daniel the Adjuster. Down the bottom right, third icon, middle icon of the 3 that are down at the bottom. If you want to show your support, I would greatly appreciate it. If not, I don't care. It's okay. I'm not here to make money. I'm just here to help you guys out. But it always is nice to see you guys if something makes sense to you, you've enjoyed the content. I love to see your likes, and I love to see you guys back, because I love these lives. Because like the last thing I want to do is have, you guys ever do this? You go on like a TikTok live or a Facebook live or a YouTube live, and there's like 4 people, and the person who's on the live is sitting there looking at the screen going, nothing going on, bored to tears because nobody's watching. So by having more people, then you get lots of questions, and it keeps the thing lively and fun. And so I'm just thankful you guys are here. We'll do this every Sunday. My plan is to do it every Sunday. I think 4 o'clock actually works better for me. I thought it was 5, the last time, but it was running into my evening a little bit. So 4 is actually probably a better time. This is 4 Eastern. So that'd be 1 o'clock California time. I don't think I have any California people in here. Most of the time they don't join. I don't think there's a whole lot of California adjusters out there. I think they're all daily adjusters, and most of the time, you know, cat adjusters are all coming from other places. But we do get a lot of Texas, a lot of Florida people. I do have a fair bit of North Carolina people that do pop in. So it's kind of funny. South Carolina and North Carolina that pop in. Tennessee, we got a few people from Tennessee that pop in. So you guys have any questions? What are you running into as far as difficulty as you're getting started? You feel like, hey, I wish I had this, or I wish I had that, or do you feel like you're missing, you know, the roster, you're not on enough rosters? You're feeling like, yeah, I probably could get on some more rosters. Well, make sure you head over to that catadjuster.org. That's going to be your listing for all the rosters. And I'm just going to pull that up real quick because I can kind of give you guys a hint of where to go. And it's under /careers. So catadjuster.org/careers. And top button on the categories page says adjusting firms and employers. And you can look under the jobs section. There's daily claims. There's 3 jobs for daily claims. Catastrophe work, there's 2. Opportunities for adjusters and claims, there's 4. Careers, you know, if you're looking for staff, that's going to be your careers page. But yeah, you could go to the adjusting firms and employers, click on that. There's 93 firms listed in this directory. And like I said, if you're looking for a place to apply, boom, start clicking them. Read more, read more, read more. Everyone has a read more button. And a lot of times they're done by popularity. Let's see if I recognize any of these. A bunch of them I do. There's a lot of new ones. Yeah, Midwest, I know them. Kirby, I know them. Hancock, they're not. Hancock's, they're not. You know, Allied, Churchill, work for them. Yeah, there's lots of them. Anyways, so if you're ever looking for work, you just feel like, hey, I'm just not getting any work, you're going to go over to the directory of this page. You can also look at the classifieds, okay? And they'll put all the people that are paying for advertisements on this page. So FKS Insurance Services LLC, seeking experienced field adjuster. Okay, we're 2 or more years experience, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then it'll tell you, here's a remote position. Ooh, commercial desk adjusters for multi-state carrier. I mean, great. You guys want a job? Well, just click on it, and there you go. Pro adjuster, daily cat field IA, needed weekly updated list of needed areas. Okay? As I was saying, if you are not finding work, then you just go to that page, and you're going to find something there. If you are not working, you're going to find an opportunity there where you can click on it, join a roster, and find a way to make, you know, to find more work. And again, there's 93 of them there. Pick 40 of them, whether they're the biggest ones, the smallest one, doesn't matter. Just pick them and apply to them all. And they're a pain in the neck to apply to them. There's a lot of work to it. It'll drive you nuts. But once you've done it, you're on their roster forever until they kick you off or until you decide to be pulled off. And so you only have to do it once and, you know, update your resume or update your skills as you see fit. But keep a journal, and you know, for all the ones that you're on, so that you know, hey, I'm going to call this guy in 2 weeks. I call this guy in 2 weeks, and you just keep a little notebook, page for each carrier, or not carrier, but page for each firm in a little journal book. Even keep it on your phone and a notepad, and create a log or a journal so that you know who you're calling, who you spoke to, and how many times you called them, and what they said when you talked to them. If you left a message, well, then you know you need to call them back tomorrow and do the same thing. You do that enough, and you're going to have somebody calling you all the time for work, and you're going to be busy. So just keep that in mind, guys. Yeah, this was catadjuster.org, Kimberly. It is. I lived on that site. And actually, if you go to my Discord, guys, there's a whole channel on that Discord or page channel. They break them all down in channels down the left side. But there's a channel that says deployments. And these guys talk about all sorts of jobs that they got. Hey, I just got a call from so-and-so. that says they're looking for 10 adjusters, you know. And so I've seen that stuff, and these guys all help each other out, find them work. They post the firm's fee schedules so you know what they're paying from the very beginning. It's very helpful. So link is in the description. If you go into the description of my video, let's see, you've got my macros. Guys, if you're wanting to learn shortcuts of how to write estimates, I created my macros. My macros are basically, if you're building a roof estimate and you want to know all the items that are in that estimate, I've created a macro, which is a one-line description, says 30-year shingle replace. And then in that are all the line items you need that you would ever come across on a 30-year shingle replacement roof. You go down the items, you delete the ones you have, you add in how many vents you have, you delete the skylights if there's no skylights, you delete the satellite if there's no, you just go down and delete or add 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 to each one of the line items. Delete everything else out. I just built your roof estimate there in 5 minutes or less. So you don't even have to look up the line items because I saved them all in the macros. Well, that's just one macro. In this set for $49, there are over 400 macros. And this is from everything from the smallest little thing all the way through to fires and how to replace every single line item in a house. So I've sold a ton of these. Everybody loves them. I think I only had a couple bad comments. Yeah, actually, I'm dead honest. I only had 2 bad comments in the entire time I've sold these macros. And one of them was, man, there's so many macros in there, I lost my other macros. You have so many macros, they overwrote all my other ones, and mine are all lost in the middle. So he was upset because it just cluttered up all his macros that he had on his thing, and that was his complaint. Not that the macros were bad, just that it made a mess of his, because it imported them all in and over top of his, so he was upset. I think the other one just said, there are too many of them. And I was like, oh boy, gee, sorry about that. Anyway, so if you come down also in the descriptions, there's a consultation link. So you're wondering what that is? That's, if you guys are just saying, hey, I want some one-on-one, I want to talk for an hour with Daniel just to say, hey, I've got some questions, probably very specific to my scenario. I just want a game plan. And what I'll do is I'll sit down and talk with you for an hour, and we will just discuss everything to help you basically start your game plan of how to get started, or if you've got a transition, you're trying to move from one section to another and you're trying to figure out how to do it, we can talk about that. We talk about anything, but it's one-on-one, and it's on the phone or by video. So either way, that's the consultation link. Below that are all my social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Mayway, which is not much anymore. My website, Clear Sky Drone Imagery. I did some drone stuff, some photos there, but that's also where you buy the macros from. But you can see that there. The YouTube channel link, and then the Discord link. So the last one is the Discord link. And then I've got a bunch of other video links below that, and all the products that I have in my car at this point in time are listed, Amazon links there to just get you over to if you want to purchase the things that you don't have. I got a link for everything that I use. So yeah, that's in my tool belt, in my car, in my my rope and harness stuff, all my rigging stuff for climbing roofs, my Disto laser measuring tool, my cougar paws, a Leatherman that I keep in my pocket, my camera, the specific camera I use, everything you will need to be an adjuster. You buy every one of those things, and you're going to have every tool you need in order to be an adjuster. So if you need it, it's in the description. So don't ever say I didn't give you all the things that you needed to be a successful adjuster, because that's my goal. My goal here is to help you guys, and to girls and guys, to be exactly who you want to be, make money doing this. And you're like, how much money can I make? Well, it's all dependent on how much work you put into it. So I get this question quite a bit, and people will say, well, how much can I make? Well, I know personally friends that have made over $300,000 a year. And I know guys that make $500,000 a year doing this. Is that for everybody? No. There's always the top liars. Always the people who are at the top of the list that are doing the best, that get the best gigs, have got their system down pat. Those are the guys. But to make $100,000, Very easy. Very, very easy to do as an adjuster to make $100,000 a year. And that's why a lot of people are switching to this career, is because the potential is very high for you to make that as a standard living. And it doesn't take a ton of effort. I mean, it does take effort to get in, but once it starts, like once you've put in a couple of years effort, and I tell you this for a reason. It's not like I'm not working in 2 years. It's like you're gonna start slow. You're gonna have a little bit of work. You can probably get a little bit more, a little bit more, a little more. And it's not until about 2 years in that you go, wow, everything's kind of, I'm getting work, I'm getting calls, I'm going on catastrophes. I'm set. I'm now developed my career and I'm doing well. And that's going to be around the 2 year mark if you've put in the time and the effort. Now, if you piddle around, you touch at this every once in a while, you do a little bit here, a little bit there, I've seen a lot of people fail. I've seen a lot of people fail. They give up. So if you're kind of a person that says, yeah, I'm not really self-motivated, I don't know if I could do this, this may not be the career for you. Because this is being self-employed. You are your own boss. You make your own schedule. You make the money. You pay your own taxes. You take your vacations when you need to. You work for who you want to, and you put the effort in like you want to. This is not an employee position, guys. This is not sit back, somebody's going to give you a paycheck and enjoy your life, and you can just slack off and do whatever you want. No. If you slack off during this job as an independent, you won't be working. Because there's somebody next to you in another state, in another location that wants your job. And so as long as you do a good job, you're consistent, you do exactly what you're supposed to do. You go out and inspect the homes as quickly as you can. We're not talking race car. We're just saying, hey, so you got to call in. You call those people within the hour or two. You try and set the appointment. If you get a voicemail and you can't get somebody, then you're calling them back a couple hours later and you're trying again to pursue. You're not waiting all the way to the next day to give them another call. Like, I've called people every 10 minutes for an hour. Literally, every 10 minutes for an hour, and I get them on the 5th call. And I said to him, I said, ma'am, did you know that I was calling you for the last 5 times? Oh yeah, I saw every phone call, but I thought it was a telemarketer. I'm like, well, why don't you pick it up and find out? I called you 5 times. Well, I did on the 5th time I picked up. So she'd been sitting at home watching my phone, or watching her phone ring the whole time, but never answered it. So the persistence is just, I could call, and then I could call the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and then 5 days down the road, I finally get a hold of her because she decides to pick up the phone. So instead of that 5-day wait, I'm going to do it 5 in 5 hours. Just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, or 5 in 2 hours, and just until I can get her or get him. And so that's what you do. You call them, you set the appointment, and you say, I'd love to see this in 2 days. Give a couple days notice. You tell the people it's going to take about 20 minutes to do the inspection. If you're doing a roof only, you can say, hey, I am going to give you the opportunity. You don't even have to be there. I just need your permission to inspect the house. I don't even need them there. People work. So I tell people, I say, if this is not convenient, I can do this inspection for you. I just want to let you know, I'm not going to give you any conclusion of this claim at the time of the inspection. So you really don't have to be there. Somebody's going to call you a couple weeks later and go over the results. So now you're telling them there's really no reason for them to be there. So if they're, freaking out over the fact that you want to come to their house, you just say, ma'am, I'm just getting on the roof. I'm just going to take a look at the roof, see if, there's any wind damage around the house. And I'm going to put a claim together and put all this, description together and a photo report. I'm going to send it over there, and then somebody will give you a call. So you get somebody to agree to that, man, I'm knocking these claims out in a couple days. And then the whole point, the critical part of every firm is that if you inspect that day, they want the report turned in the same day, by midnight. Okay, when that clock ticks 12 o'clock, you are late. Okay, you are late. Okay, you are not a good insurance adjuster if you're turning in at 12 or 12:01. So get those things turned in. Typically, I inspect in the morning. I got these things turned in by the afternoon. And that gives the file reviewer a chance to review it. She's shooting it off, and she's done. And that claim's in the insurance company's hand by 7 o'clock that day. It looks great. Everybody's happy, the firm's happy, you're happy, and you're going to get more work because you've proven that you can handle this type of work. So that's the type of work ethic that you're going to have to push on. You're going to get calls at 5 o'clock and on. You're going to get people that are going to call you at 7 and 8 o'clock at night. You choose whether you want to answer that phone call or not. I don't. I set my time and say, hey, it's 7 o'clock. If I'm not sitting in front of the computer and working on something else, I'm not taking that call. It'll go to voicemail, and I'll call them first thing in the morning. So that's what you do, is you schedule your day, you make it a responsible return time on phone calls and emails or whatever, but you don't kill yourself. You set your time. You're organizing your schedule. Same thing with inspections. Do your early morning inspections. I start mine at 8. I do an 8, a 9, a 10, an 11. If I get another one, I'll get a 12. If I happen to get some close together, it'll be quicker than that. But I'm home by lunch every single day. Pick up lunch on the way home, and then I'm sitting in the office, get a shower, whatever. So I'm sitting comfy in my PJs or my casual clothes, and I've done my work outside, and now I'm sitting in the air conditioning, or I'm sitting, on the sunroom, or wherever it happens to be that I want to set up, and then I spend the afternoon writing these estimates and getting them all done by the end of the day. And I've got my evening times free, and I just rinse and repeat this and do this every day. And as long as you're doing that as an independent adjuster, that firm is going to be very pleased with you. They're going to continue to give you claims, and they're going to say, this guy's responsible, this gal's responsible, doing a great job, and we want to continue to give them more claims. So as you grow in your experience of writing claims, you're going to have less and less corrections. The file reviewers are going to love you. They're going to pass it along to their managers and say, hey, this guy writes a great estimate, or this gal writes a great estimate. I really like working with him. He's doing a good job, or she's doing a really good job. So that's how you're going to get this repeat work. But if you're a lazy, son of a gun, you're just not you're not caring about the estimates you're writing sloppy estimates, you're getting a lot of file reviews, you turn it in, you forget things, and then they got to send you back another file review to correct the things you forgot. Well, then you're going to start looking bad. You're going to start looking like you really don't care about your job, and then they're going to say, maybe we'll find somebody else to handle the claims because this person's not as efficient or doesn't really care as much as this other person maybe. So I've seen people burn their bridges. So it's not an employee mindset. You're not trying to get away with taking tons of breaks, and you're not trying to get over on your boss and saying, hey, I'll work for you 6 hours when really I'm in the place for 8, or taking an extra long smoke breaks or whatever. Whatever it is, but your time is your time, but it's different. It's like you're being held to a standard where you have got to do the work. You've got to make yourself responsible, get it done, and then enjoy yourself. And that's the self-employment mentality. You're making your schedule in yourself. You're getting it done. You're being as efficient as you can. Get the work done. Get it turned in, and then you're done. And then they're going to give you more. So you take your breaks when you got them, but you work hard as far as you can, as fast as you can, as efficiently as you can to make everyone happy. So hope that makes sense. Well, guys, I'm going to head out of here. If you guys have any other questions, I have just a few more minutes here left. I would love to hear from you if you haven't sent your question in. I told you I could talk forever. I feel like a soap opera box. I just need my box so I can stand up on. I appreciate you guys watching my channel. I've really enjoyed doing this stuff. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I love talking and chatting with people. I love meeting new people. One day I hope to have a chance to meet you all in some conference or something. Maybe one day I'll become famous one day. Daniel the Adjuster. We'll do some conference, and hopefully a bunch of people will come and we'll meet you all. That would be fun. So anyways, well, guys, no other questions. I don't see anything. Have a great evening, and be safe out there. Don't do stupid things on a roof. Be safe, and don't take chances. We all want to get home at night. But thanks so much for watching. Watch my channel. Hit the like and subscribe button. Watch my videos coming up, and we will see you next Sunday live at 4 o'clock Eastern. See you later.